Welcome to the Daily Devo. My name is Diana. Today we are talking about questions Jesus asked. In this series, we are looking at different questions that Jesus asked in the New Testament, and each question will show us something about Jesus' character, his values, and how we can walk with him. Today's question is found in Luke chapter 24, verse 17. It says this: Jesus asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. The question Jesus asked, he said, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" That's a pretty cool and clear question, isn't it? That just at face value, what are you talking about right now? Have you ever considered that Jesus is interested in your conversations, even the conversation you may have had right before this Devo or later on in the day? Well, let's look at the context of today's verse. In Luke chapter 24, two people were walking away from the city towards this village that was 7 miles away, a village called Emmaus. And as they walked, they were talking about the trial and the crucifixion of Jesus that just happened back in Jerusalem. It says they were talking about everything that had just happened. Do you do that? Do you have family or friends or coworkers that you debrief with? You know, the folks that you talk about that family gathering, that staff meeting, that event, or that thing in the news that's happening, for example. The conversations where you talk about it from multiple different angles, like what did people say, what the new technology is, who's funding it, what the impact might be, what the challenges are why did they make those choices, how do we feel about it, right? What surprised us? We talk about everything that happened as we debrief these conversations. Well, whether it's the Little League game, the graduation party, the office event, or world news, we tend to talk about everything that just happened with our people. That is the type of conversation Jesus walks up to on the road to Emmaus. The two respond by essentially saying, "Are you the only one who does not know about the things that happened in the last few days?" They're basically saying, Jesus, have you been living under a rock? Like, where have you been? How could you miss it? Well, Jesus, what he does next is he joins them in conversation right where they are, and he asks a follow-up question. He's curious. He says, "What things?" And then these two, they include Jesus in their conversation. They're sharing perspectives and opinions. And in time, Jesus starts to explain his perspective, and he brings in the whole of the Old Testament. For us today, I want to look at Jesus' opening question. The question he asked was, "What are you discussing together?" Two ideas for us. The first is, what are you discussing? What have you been giving your perspective, your opinions, your observations, your feelings, your thoughts, and your attention to? And then, what would Jesus add to your conversation? Have you considered his perspective? Have you spent some time thinking about if he was at that dinner table, in that car ride, at that office convo, in that text thread? What would he add to the conversation? What would he align with? What would sadden his heart? The second idea for us today is this: what are the people that are around you? What are they discussing? Your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers, your kids, other parents, what are they all talking about? And might we follow Jesus' example and simply start with interest of other people's topics? Might we care and become curious about what they are talking about? I've wondered and I've watched. There's been some parents and some teachers and some grandparents who do this really well. They tend to take up the niche interests of their kids and their grandkids, even if they don't personally care about it. But they join them where they are first. Isn't that loving? They join the conversation with curiosity. And who knows, if in time, through both prayer and wisdom, an opportunity may open up for you too to guide others to truth. Jesus asked the question, what are you discussing as you walk along? Let's ponder this question today and lean in. We'll see you next time.